We begin our meditation today. Let's center the ego, our self-identity. In that space of infinite peace. And in present moment awareness. Remembering your ego that appears to be separate is only an illusion. That which you are, that essence, is infinite. The goal would be to let go of the ego as much as you can. Surrender it. Render it humble. As you allow yourself to embrace infinite awareness within you, infinite consciousness. The joy that you should have in your heart is that the field we are co-creating has that awareness. The field we are co-creating has that awareness of infinite consciousness. Your ego is simply a tool, antakarana, that you use when you need the role of a self-identity. Now you need to let it go. By embracing the infinite consciousness within you. Sustain that awareness, that mental awareness of surrendering. And to deepen that, use the power of the breath. But it's not just air that you bring into the lungs. It's a vital current that drives that operation of breathing in and breathing out. Stay in heightened awareness as much as you can to observe the entire field of being, not just the physicality, but your subtle field of being, the subtle energies that are within your experience. The more you surrender the ego, the more you let go, and the more you observe from a deeper space, the more you will see the subtle world is not seen by the gross eyes. It is perceived by the subtle body in the subtle body. As you open up your awareness to subtle being. Subtle being is the mental field, the emotional field, and the vital field of prana. Give attention to the breath. Breathing into the center of the chest. Open up your heart space. It's a powerful space to go, as I've been telling you. Open up the heart space. The emotional center within your being. It's in your soul. And hold the awareness as much as you can of centering in infinite love. A good technique here is to allow yourself to be loved by the universe. Let your ego, instead of loving, allow it to be held in love. Just let go. Move away from the doing, allowing yourself to embrace being, loving as being, love energy as being. Love relaxes you when you allow yourself to be loved by the universe. It nourishes your subtle body and growth. Again, the field that we are co-creating has that awareness. Of infinite love. Open up to it, breathe. You can't imagine how the breath opens you up to more consciousness, more prana. Keep on centering in the heart and open the belly to breathe. Why the belly? Because that's the core, vital center in your subtle body that drives the physical. So centered in infinite awareness, centered in infinite love, open up the belly to breathe and just observe. As much as you can, effortless breathing. Let a breath happen. As the vital currents are already operating within you, even without your conscious doing. Prana, anapana moves. And take your attention right down to the base of the spine. Go to the perineum area. That you can really connect from the subtle to the gross physical. And to the core vital center. And to the emotional center. And when you breathe into the throat, you're breathing into silence. It is a center that opens you up to the infinite space of information within you. And as you center, begin to observe if you are held by the energy field. There's a greater power within you that's holding you, that is supporting your ego in letting go. That greater power drives the breath. It helps to center you in infinite love and peace. Begin to acknowledge this greater power within your being that is far beyond ego awareness. Just let go to that power. Move the breath in a way that you really enjoy every breath that you take. Stay in the silence, stay in the love, stay in the peace, and allow yourself to naturally surrender the ego in that space of infinite being. It's a good point to allow the mantra to enter if you find it useful to center the mind in the infinite space within. Let the mantra arise out of the silence. Observe it in the silence. And stay in that space of infinite being with me. We are one with each other. We are of the same essence. Don't allow your mind to fall back in material thinking, caught up in the physical senses. Detach. Detach. Your deeper experience lies in detachment. Observe from a deeper space. And if you can, observe the freedom of that inner space. It's a space of infinite possibilities. Hold your body in nourishment. Hold your every cell in your mental field. And breathe into the body as much as you can, gross and subtle. Your cells become more energized. Your body becomes more vital. Work intuitively as much as you can. Bring your attention to the brow as you breathe, focusing prana on the head, the brain. Breathe into every chakra point. Allow your senses to become more energized by the subtle energy of the prana. And now open your field to the world around you, the consciousness of the world around you. Earth is beneath you, air is around you, moisture, the water element, space, and warmth, fire, light. Come to the awareness of the world around you while staying centered in infinite being. Breathe deeply into the body. Open up the lungs to breathe. Observe what happens as you bring more oxygen into the body. And you hold the body in a field of prana. More gross consciousness comes. Begin to observe how you have more skin awareness, more eye awareness, more taste awareness, more smell awareness, more touch awareness. Observe. Open up to the beauty of a new day. And let's welcome, well, not a new day for you, some of you. Welcome to the presence of the day around you. And let's affirm our intention for this day, to be centered in the infinite within, and to let it guide the ego as we choose to operate in and through the ego in our daily activities. I center my ego consciousness, my self-identity, my sense of self, in that infinite space within me, acknowledging its power, its potential as a source of infinite peace, love, goodness, wisdom, and vitality. I seek to stay aligned to that infinite center within me, even as my ego operates in the karmic play. I seek to stay centered. That my ego may be driven by a consciousness of higher self. Driven to bring more light into the space, more peace into the space, more vitality into the space. I seek the grace to be able to do this. And more than anything else, I seek more awareness, that my ego would be held in more self-awareness. I pray to open my ego consciousness, open mind, open heart, to more of my infinite being. I give thanks for all the blessings that I receive from the universe. As an ego, and I pray. I, the ego, pray. To stay worthy of the grace of this infinite self. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaskar, everyone. Welcome once again to Sunday in our world, and to the marvelous journey, illusory that it may be, of the ego in a karmic play. No denial of the presence of the ego, but to embrace it in higher awareness as much as we can. Life journey is all about the ego, the I. Evolving in self-awareness, self-identity. Some of us, we want to experience more and more self-awareness, more and more consciousness of self. More and more beyond the ego awareness, the limited ego awareness. And though we have that drive, we may still be captured by the world around us. Meaning that the soul is taken up with its desires, its opinions, its thoughts, its limitations. And that is what holds us back from more consciousness. More consciousness is available continuously. But it's the ego in limited frames, in limited consciousness, in limited seeing that holds us back. And for some of us, there's the blind spot when we can't see the subtle ego at work in its selfishness, in its pride, in its stubbornness. We can't see it. We become it. We identify with it. That's the most difficult, when we can't see the ego in all of its forms. Most difficult. We struggle. We feel pain in the heart because the ego becomes emotional. We feel pain in the brain because we become too mental. We feel pain in the gut because we are unable to embrace the body in a higher space of vital consciousness or prana. We feel pain everywhere because of the limited ego and its patterning. This is not an easy journey, not by any means. I struggled in my early days by an entire year of desperation. From the young man who was so excited about life to the depressed soul searching for meaning and purpose. I was ready to leave the planet if I couldn't find what I was looking for. I was totally ready. I couldn't live in such a limitation of being. Couldn't control my mind, couldn't control my emotion, didn't know who I am, didn't know what I am doing here. These were terrible, terrible limitations. And I struggled with everything that I had. Slept on the floor, fasted, read every book that I could, looked for every teacher that was around me. To no avail. No help. Struggled. Finally, relief came. So I know that when you begin to search sincerely, the universe responds. I know that. It may not respond right away because we may not be totally ready, but it will respond to you and it will help you to become ready. But for me, the greatest thing that shows the benevolence of the universe is when the master appears in your space. It's the difference between day and night, light and darkness. And you cannot understand the master if you don't have the eyes to see. You may see just a human being. But the more you open yourself up in the looking, the more you give attention to the subtle field, the more you will perceive the master's energy. I am in eternal gratitude to the master. Of course, it's in the karmic play that I had to find the master. But in finding the master, something extraordinary happened. An inner change took place, an inner explosion, an inner revolution that had to do more about me and what was happening inside of me rather than any physical relationship with the master. The master's presence meant everything. Just the master's image in my mind was a doorway to go deeper within. That's why in Guru Gita, when it says Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti, it says the root of meditation is the Guru's form. Form as an entry point into the Guru. I held the Guru's form so powerfully in my consciousness until I could feel this Kundalini energy started to wake up within me and rise within me. And then I saw the magic of the Guru's form, Guru Murti. We call the religious icons Murti because we see more than just the form. We acknowledge that there is an energy behind this form. The form is only a conduit, as it were, through which energy flows. When I had got that perception, it was magical. I closed my eyes in the presence of the physical Guru and just observed what happened in my inner space. I felt bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I felt energy centers opening up. And then I knew the magic of the master. It was the magic of Kundalini. The presence of the master meant everything. And when I left in there, after 4 months, I left with the master. I felt no sense of separation from the ashram in India not a master. When I sat in my little room in Trinidad and I would sit to chant, I was in Ganeshpuri in there. I was in the ashram. I never felt a sense of separation. It is magical. The presence of the Guru is not physical, it's far more. That's why we say Guru Murti. So what happens in the Guru's presence, if we are ready, is that more peace enters the space, more light, more love. Suddenly more awareness comes to us. And in that we begin to see the ego more clearly. And as we allow that energy, that presence, to connect with our being, or to open us up even more. Because in a scientific sense, it's like, it's called Shaktipat. It's transmission of power. And it's like how electricity flows from higher potential to lower potential, or gravity from a higher potential to a lower potential, tending to equalize. And that's exactly how I see Shaktipat. If you're ready and receptive and you come into the field of the Guru, this amazing transmission will happen because the Guru is always open. The field is always open, like open Wi-Fi. So it's like a process of induction. And I've often quoted the example of putting a piece of iron next to a permanent magnet. And pretty soon the molecules align themselves in the piece of iron, that it becomes magnetic. So too, when we come into the field, the strong auric field of a master, we begin to actually feel something happens to our field of energy. And that is extremely fascinating. And the mind is such a powerful thing that even though you move away from the master's presence, just when you bring in the master into your mental field, it's a way of getting into the master's energy. So there's a secret there of bringing the master into your mental field until the form gives way to an energy connection. You know, we sing the song, Jyota Sajuta Jagao, let your light light my light. Jyota Sajuta Jagao, light my light with your light. Take away the darkness through that light. Mera antara timira mitao. That means take away the darkness from within me. Sadguru, O Master in the light. Sadguru, Jyota Sajuta Jagao. Jagao is to wake up. The light, in this case. I don't know how to tell you more, because for me, all the yogas came naturally to me. The Hatha Yoga, the Raja Yoga, the Kundalini Yoga, the Mantra Yoga, the Jnana Yoga. Everything came naturally to me. So practicing the yogas became natural. So that's why this yoga is called Mahayoga or Siddha Yoga. All the yogas naturally unfold through the Shaktipat initiation. So value the presence of the master as much as you can. And of course, there's not only one master on the planet. Life has given us different masters. Of course, we need to be careful in selecting the master, but once we are attracted to the inner space of the master, once we can feel the selflessness of the master, once we feel lifted by the master, once we feel it when we bring the master to mind, something happens, an inner revolution, then we are following the right master. And one can have several masters because different masters have different personalities. You can learn from all of them. But here I'll close our talk today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in conversations. And of course, I send out 2 emails to you. Based on last Sunday's talk and meditation. I hope that you've read them, and I sent some questions for you to contemplate and the ego. Of course, our conversation is going to be held in grace. So what is beautiful about that is that new awakenings may happen. Suddenly you may see more of the light. And that is the beauty of those conversations. In one moment you may realize something you didn't realize before. And that can make all the difference in your sadhana. So I look forward to seeing you in my evening at 3 p.m. as we meet in conversation. I want to wish all of you, wherever you are today, in our beautiful world, a marvelous day. Doesn't matter how illusory the senses are, for me, it's magical, it's beautiful. So long as we have the right awareness. As perishable as this world will be, as illusory as it will be, it's beautiful magic. It's magical, because only the self, only that infinite consciousness and energy exist. Have a blessed day, everyone. Namaskar.